Welcome to the Making Health Doable podcast. I'm Cheryl Borchardt.
And I'm Sarah Shaw.
And together we're your hosts on this journey as you learn what it takes to live well.
We are dedicated to tackling topics that empower you to make massive progress in your health and wellness journey by using our pillars of health: eat well, move well, live well, and respond well.
At Dooable Health, our mission is simple: to help everyone live well. As a team of physicians, board-certified health coaches, and law enforcement experts, we're here to serve employees and first responders with coaching, workshops, and masterclasses designed to conquer stress, anxiety, and burnout.
But our dedication doesn't stop there. We're also committed to improving wellness for individuals like you by offering at-home lab testing and personalized coaching to support your unique needs.
Because whether you're an employee, a first responder, or simply an individual seeking better health, we believe that life can feel better for everyone when health is made doable.
So join us as we embark on this journey together, where we'll provide you with the tools, insights, and encouragement you need to thrive.
And stay tuned for enlightening discussions, expert interviews, and actionable advice that will inspire you to take charge of your well-being and live your best life.
Until next time, remember, life can feel better when health is made doable.
Finally we begin, we have an exciting new offering from Dooable Health: at-home lab testing with our integrative health practitioner, Janine Finelli.
I'm Janine Finelli, integrative health practitioner, National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach, and VP at Dooable Health. We offer at-home functional lab testing for individuals to test and not guess when it comes to their health. Whether you are interested in a deep dive under the hood because you love to geek out on numbers and want to really focus on moving forward with prevention, or you have symptoms, brain fog, digestive issues, hormonal imbalances, insomnia, low or no libido, water retention, headaches, all sorts of things that you just cannot figure out where they're coming from, through our at-home functional medicine lab testing with the best of the best labs out there, we can help give you answers. Schedule your initial consult with me so you can test and not guess by going online at doable.com/test. And for a limited time, get 10% off your initial consultation by using the code PODCAST in the checkout screen. doable.com/test.
Today, I'm joined by Jamie Bailey. Jamie is a board-certified physician's assistant and functional health practitioner. Having navigated her own health journey through gut issues, fatigue, and hormonal imbalances, Jamie is passionate about helping busy moms overcome health obstacles through her company, Restored Wellness. And today, we're going to talk about what to do when you feel stuck in your health journey. Hey, Jamie, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. So glad to be here.
Yes, I'm glad for you to be here too. Jamie and I have known each other for several years, and we both live in the Augusta, Georgia area, and we got to know each other through the functional medicine community here in our own town. And Jamie has navigated that so well because previously she worked in a more conventional medical setting. And so today, Jamie's just going to chat with us a little bit about what to do when you feel stuck. So Jamie, just to get started today, what are the most common reasons or conditions that cause people to feel stuck in their health journey?
Well, I see this a lot, and I have been here myself of just being frustrated in your body, whether that means for a lot of my clients, it's, they don't recognize themselves or they don't feel comfortable in their body, or it's a disappointment or frustration with the way that your body is not responding the way it once did. And so a lot of times that comes across as fatigue or gut issues. I see that a lot. Hormonal imbalances, things where sometimes for a while you might tell yourself it's probably normal, or I'm getting older, or this is the way that it is. But then you start wondering, like, what? I need some answers. I feel a little bit stuck. I don't know the next step. And then it can be overwhelming, honestly. I mean, our lives are overwhelming. And then if you feel your body is in opposition to you in some ways, it can be super overwhelming and very frustrating. And so I see that a lot in the client.
So when folks reach out to you, do they come to you because they've been in the typical medical setting or typical office, primary care, whatnot, and they are hitting a wall with the options that they have and the things that they're able to request or talk with their doctor about?
Yeah. Yes. Okay. So I see a lot of people who are in a couple of categories. Sometimes their labs still all look normal. And so they have been told you don't have anything going on because it's not showing up in our traditional conventional lab work. But it doesn't necessarily resonate with the client. They still feel like this can't be right the way that I feel. I don't feel awesome. And then sometimes they also do find abnormalities, but the answers aren't really there, like why this is happening. And this was a huge shift for me. And I know you totally understand this too. When I was in the conventional model as a physician assistant, I really didn't ask why. Just people came to me with their symptoms. I diagnosed them, treated them, and it's almost in that frame of reference, it didn't matter why. Let's just fix the number. And with the switching to more on the functional side of things, it's really just digging and trying to find the root cause. And so when people come to me and they're like, okay, I maybe have this issue going on and I was prescribed this medication, but is this for forever? And so I really,
That's a big question for most
yes,
people.
yes. And so if you can dig and find, okay, so why did this happen and really get to the root cause, I think those are the people that come to me. Either they feel like something's not right and it's not showing up yet, or they don't know why what they're struggling with is happening.
Yes. I think a lot of times when I talk to people, like you were talking about, their blood work is quote unquote normal. Have you ever seen the cartoon where there's like a person sitting on the office bed and they're covered in a rash and the doctor's like, but your blood work is all normal? It makes me think of that, like something's still wrong, right? And so, yeah, I think the reasons that people come are different. And maybe even sometimes they do get the blood work normal, but there can be other things that you can do with them and that they can go and explore in a different way. So having that different perspective. So can you speak to how a person that might go to their doctor or provider and they're in the traditional healthcare setting and they feel stuck? What could they do? Maybe start with that. What are some things they could do with their traditional doctor or things they can request?
Yeah, I think where the conventional healthcare system really shines is in diagnosing. I mean, there's a lot of benefit there. And so I really encourage people, regular blood work, like let's go there and see what diagnosis, if any, that can be uncovered. But sometimes you have to just find the right person, and they are there. I like to look for people that a provider that one is willing to dig for the answers and even connect the dots. And so I'll give you an example. Previously, if someone came to me with 10 symptoms, you might go out with 10 referrals, like to other people.
Yes, to different
very
specialists.
Segmented, right? So like, okay, this hurts, you go to this doctor. You're having a problem here, you go to this doctor. And so, it's okay. And everybody's got their specialties, but also if you can find someone who looks at you like as a whole person and can connect the dots between all of these different issues. And so sometimes it's finding the right provider that will dig and connect the dots for you. And then other times it's getting the diagnostic test, sometimes just to rule out things. So I'm like, okay, we're okay with normal lab work or a normal imaging. So that's at least we know that the scary stuff is not there. But
Yes.
if we need to dig further, there are specialty labs that aren't mainstream that can be very beneficial and very unique and help with a personalized protocol for you, because what may work for your next door neighbor might not work for you. And to me, that's the beauty of taking each person case by case, is we're all so wonderfully unique. And that sometimes means, I can't take the same supplement or eat the exact same food as the next person. And so I think putting together a team, I really like this approach where you have some people, they have their strong suit and that's who you go to for that. But then also it could be a team of people who have different specialties that really can just put it all together. And I love that wholeness aspect of how do we incorporate and get you optimized. Sometimes the conventional model isn't really set up to help you be optimized. It's really just to try to get you away from a disease. And I think there's a lot of things we can do to optimize, gut and hormones and things that way.
Mm-hmm. And I love how you explained it is like we can oftentimes figure out what the problem is. It's from there. Okay, so I have this diagnosis or I have this condition. And then from that point, a person, I think, has to say, okay, am I content? Do I want to just take medication? Which medication's not a bad thing. It's a bridge a lot of times for a functional medicine person to, have that conversation with your patient or your client and say, okay, what are your goals? Like to work with them and try to help them with whatever they need to do and to implement, so that you can say, okay, this is what you have. These are the ways we can look at it and tackle it. And potentially there may be an opportunity for your body to heal and get better if given the right things.
Yes. The one thing I would add to that is you're exactly right. There's a gap sometimes between what I can do and, oh, well, this happened to me. And so this is just the way it is. I will take this medicine forever and not change anything. And so which I think is what you're saying. And to me, this is what feels very empowering, is there's so many things that even if you choose to do the medicine and you do the exact treatment of your healthcare plan, there's usually a whole list of lifestyle things that you could do to optimize even the outcome with the medication.
Right.
So you're so right.
I know. And most of us, I have found, and you can speak to this too, a lot of us do have deficiencies, and there's various reasons for that. So those may or may not get discovered on blood work. Some of that's hard to test for, right? Like you have a serum level versus what's actually intracellular. If I'm saying that correctly, it's hard to check some of that stuff. So speaking to that piece, what maybe are some common deficiencies that people could have? And if you want to speak around that a little bit.
Yeah. For most people, where I start is two areas: the gut for most people, even if they don't have gut symptoms, and then nutritional deficiencies. And really, the main reason for that is because a lot of issues come down to the condition of your mitochondria, the little powerhouse of the cell. And so if those little mitochondria are struggling, then it's going to filter into multiple systems in the body, and it may take a while. So in my mind, if we can just optimize those things, like the minerals and the nutrients that are necessary to help the mitochondria work. So one of the ways that I do that is I test for metabolites, basically. So let's look in your urine and just see. And it could be things like B vitamins or antioxidants, things like that are pretty easy to correct. We just need to know where we are and then what we need to optimize, basically. So I love this because it can be such a simple little shift. And I've had several clients just tweak a little things based on some of their nutrients that they are deficient in. And then they oh, I just have so much more energy. And it was so small and such an easy thing to fix. We just didn't know. And so I love that. And because the science is there, and it's because it helps with the way our body handles food coming in and converting it into energy in the mitochondria. And really all it was is, let me, tweak my diet a little bit, or add in a few more B vitamins, or wherever we are. So I do think those are things that I've really never tested in conventional medicine as a PA.
Yeah.
And then now it's an easy thing to help people feel better, get a quick win, basically, by correcting those nutrient deficiencies.
Well, I'll share something. I had some blood work, and I don't know that I've routinely had my B vitamins checked. I think one time they were checked because I was having tingling in one of my feet. And that was when it first came out that I learned the functional medicine piece of it was, look, my lab work was normal in a standard lab range, but I was still having symptoms. So when I got that level higher, I felt much, much, much better. So it's a really interesting. I encourage people to try to do some research and learn, sometimes you're just barely hanging on with what you need in your body. And vitamin D is another example of that too. So I encourage people to look at functional medicine ranges and try to learn about those so they can talk to, their doctor or whomever they're working with on some of that stuff.
Yes. It's such a good point, because those averages are based on the standard population. Well, our standard population is not that healthy.
No, it's not. It's not.
So,
yeah.
do we want to be the standard? We're having trouble with the standard right now.
Yeah.
So you're exactly right. Those functional lab ranges are usually a little bit stricter, little like higher or lower depending on the lab. And a lot of times even tweaking those within what is considered normal can make a big difference in how you're feeling.
Mm-hmm. It sure can. And I even saw something recently how even kidney and liver function has changed over the years. It used to be a lower threshold for what was considered dysfunctional, and that has gone up because what you just said, the standard population is not healthy. I mean, if we're looking around and being honest with ourselves, most people aren't feeling their best. And what you said at the beginning of this was, I think sometimes we chalk that up to we're getting older. This is how it happens. This is how things work. I'm going to feel worse and worse. And that doesn't have to be the case, does it?
No. A couple weekends ago, I met a woman who was 70. She was a yoga instructor, chiropractor, loves all things like gut health and eating healthy. And, she was so vibrant and limber and just completely like at peace with who she was, that I was looking at her and thinking, that's how I want to be at 70.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many times I have looked at, that age group and said, that's how I want to be? Like that, it was an odd thing, actually. Usually when you look at elderly, you're like, oh, I'm, like that's just how things are. And so I was so encouraged by that and so intrigued, like, what decisions do we make in this decade so that, in several decades from now, we are that person that is full of life and vibrant. And she could best me in some of the positions that she was doing. So I think that could be our standard, where things get better and better because time is on our side. When we make healthy decisions over time, it's to our benefit. Whereas if we are not making healthy decisions or not really paying attention to the small daily lifestyle things, when time goes by, it's actually like working against us. So I think we can really be encouraged and empowered by that. But it matters what I do today. It matters, so that when I'm 70, I can be hiking with grandchildren and not on medicines and my knees aren't giving out. And so I think it's really exciting.
I agree with you. That I've met some people who have felt better in their like 40s and 50s than they did in their 20s and 30s, women especially. And I think even men too, sometimes we're raising families then and we're sleep deprived and we're eating on the go. We're not taking care of ourselves as much. And sometimes it affords that we can do that a little bit better in our 40s and 50s because we have a little bit more time. How would a busy person fit some of that in when they're in those other decades? Is they're thinking through what you just said is how do I set myself up to have the best health that I possibly can now and in my later years?
Yeah. I think it's where, a health coach or consultant can really come in because there are small things that you can do that aren't hard to do. They have to be intentional. Sometimes it may take another set of eyes to help point those things out and really walk alongside you to do those things. But it's very much like, going to the gym. Like I know how to get on a treadmill and I know how to do the things. But sometimes if I have somebody like encouraging me and saying, okay, now do this, it's going to be a very different workout with a personal trainer than it is if I just go in there and try to do those things. Because the truth of the matter is, yes, okay, so let's just say you're super busy, you have stress at work or young children, where you maybe can't control your sleep because children wake up in the middle of the night, or there are things that maybe are outside your control. But then there's other things that we can do to make up for that, basically. How can we optimize where you are in the season that you're in? And it doesn't take, I know sometimes our mental load is already so full that it's like, I can't overhaul my life right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that, again, that's really the beauty of a coach saying, okay, let me take the mental load. Here's one little thing I want you to do tonight. It could be something as simple as if sleep is the issue and we need to optimize your circadian rhythm, maybe we dim the lights at a certain time as the sun goes down. We turn off the white bright lights, change your screen to red. First thing in the morning, get in the sunshine. Little things like that. Those are free things.
Yes.
Those are not huge overhauls, but really it's retraining your circadian rhythm. Your stress, let's say you can't just go quit your job, even though it's super stressful. But what are some things that we can do, tools to help you manage your stress, to get you out of this fight or flight phase and into more of a relaxed phase? Well, it could just be, stepping outside on your break, go for a little walk. When you get home, we could do things about that. So I think there are so many small things that they're easy to do, but they're also easy not to do. And if you do them one day, does it change your life? No. If you don't do them, does it make you worse? No. But if you do them and they become habits over time, you're going to see that your body responds.
Mm-hmm. It is like going to the gym or doing something that needs repetition if we want to see the benefits of it. And it's so true. Just most of these things can be inexpensive or free, like being outside, fresh air, movement, doing some certain things before bed or when we get up in the morning to just really support ourselves. And I always call it giving our bodies the raw materials that it needs to build what it needs to build, to restore itself. And we have to provide all of that. We have to provide those raw materials and give our body all those lovely things. Do you have a wellness routine per se for yourself or your family? Do y'all have some things that you do that you really have seen to benefit your health?
Yeah, we do. So we get a lot of movement. Like simple things. I have 2 young boys and I've taught them from an early age, like even when it comes to nutrition, that we're serving our body and, the things that we're eating. People eat things that taste good, but don't serve our body. So we've kind of talked through that. They know, they're 5 and 8, and they know like, okay, if like to couple protein and fiber, we don't do a ton of screen time on the occasion. We do on a weekend. We make sure to get outdoor time and they're running around playing. So very much, I think how ancestors lived, like even my parents. And I was outside a lot as a child and I
Same.
didn't eat very healthy. So little stuff like that, that I think gradually we just haven't seen that our norm is changing. And then we do have bedtime, evening routines. We are cognizant of the lights, like I mentioned. I've talked to my 8-year-old who sometimes can feel pressure, like a timed math test or something like
Mhm.
that. Then, like, how do we regulate our body when you're feeling like you're breathing shallow and a little bit stressed, and then you can't think clearly because your
Gotcha.
body is in this state? So, how do we just calm that down? And so, little things like that, we don't make them this big, huge routines, but being kind to your body and being this healthy state of mind is something that we just weave in and out of our family. And honestly, I'm constantly learning, constantly.
Yeah.
And then when somebody has an issue, we always ask, okay, like, what is my body trying to say? Is there a rash? Is there, somebody has a tummy ache or leg pain? Like, okay, what is our body saying and what does it need? And so it's very much this respect instead of frustration that, like, this is disappointing to me because this is not what I had planned. So that's kind of how we work it into our lifestyle.
I know that I try to encourage people to think about when they have an issue that's almost like your check engine lights going off, like it would in your car. If you're like having frequent headaches or, like you said, stomach issues that, occasionally we know sometimes those things do happen, but what do we do if it's an ongoing thing? To just have that perspective of my body is trying to tell me something. It's my job to listen and do my best to figure out what I can do to support it. And that might need to be enlisting your collaborative care team, your people around you that are your health supportive people, maybe your doctor, maybe a coach, maybe a consultant. And those people will be there to help you with that different perspective too. So that's great. I
Yeah.
love hearing people's wellness routines and some of the things that they incorporate into their life, because those routines are so important and they can prevent us getting to the point that we feel stuck somewhere. I am 48. I don't know that I want to tell everybody that, but it's true. So I think now too about the next part of my life. And I know you work with a lot of women. And so maybe if you have a moment to talk about like just the preventative piece or the being proactive piece to our health, I have tried to do that to prepare for the next phase of my life, which will be coming in a few years. So what are some things that people can do ahead of time? Maybe women who are going into this new time of life, or anybody really, like how can we think in a proactive way about our health?
Yeah. There's so many things. I think at the heart of a lot of issues is inflammation, which,
Mhm.
going back to that mitochondria. And so if you just sort of zoom out from an inflammatory standpoint, is our diet inflammatory? Is our stress load inflammatory?
Mhm.
I'll just give you a resource that I really love. There's a book called The Rushing Woman by Dr.
Mhm.
Lydia Weaver. And I really loved that book because it's basically a woman who is like rushing all around because we've got all the things. We've got children going in different directions.
Mhm.
We've got work. We've got a household to run. And basically, the impact that has on hormones, on inflammation, on joints, on stress, on our relationships. It
Mhm.
it is all so interconnected. And it was such a good resource for me. And honestly, like my 8-year-old sometimes, this happened the other day where I like took a wrong turn, going to be late for an appointment, and I'm like feeling that. And my 8-year-old's like, Mom, it's going to be okay. We'll be 5 minutes late. The haircut, he was like, she's kind. She's going to be forgiving. And that's all it took. I was like, you know what? We're going to get there when we get there. But when we've got this rushing thing, it can impact so much. It can impact our gut. It can impact our hormones. And so when you are going into this phase of aging, because aging is normal, like our bodies were designed to age, but we can do it really well. And
Mhm.
I think if we can look at the inflammation, what are we eating? What's serving our body? If we are working 10 hours a day, sleeping 5 hours a night, and then spending 2 hours in the gym, like it might just be a little bit too much. And
Yeah.
so, what I like to shift people to this perspective of instead of just doing all the right things, because this is my personality, just give me the right things to eat, I'll do it. Just give me the
Mhm.
right exercise, I'll do it. Like, give me the
Just tell
right
me what to
job,
do.
like all the things, and I'll cut out whatever I need to cut out. And I was very much alike. I just want to be disciplined and do the right thing. But what I have learned is our bodies need different things in different seasons. And so just becoming intuitive and doing things, maybe foregoing the dessert is a kindness to your body and not like, "Oh, I just can't have that." Or, maybe a healthier decision is a kindness. So it's not necessarily that you don't do the things that are good and healthy, but it's doing this from a place of appreciation and gratitude for the one body that you get. And so as you go into the next season, I think it's good to just step back and find out, okay, where am I thriving and where are the areas that are not so great? And then, because it might show up in a few years later in an unexpected place. It might be your hormones change, but that's really just a byproduct of something that's happening in your gut. So I do think specifically there's a lot of things that you can do to just, I keep using the word optimize, but that's really what I believe. It's like, how can we bring everything up to a level so that when you do encounter an injury or a diagnosis or something, your body is resilient. It can handle the things that life throws at it because we have optimized decrease the inflammation, balance the gut, optimize the hormones, and handle our stress really well. And we have good energy and we're not just dragging through the day and going from coffee to wine. Like,
That's
I need
right.
to get up and then I need to like settle down.
That's a good point. I think sometimes that happens more than we think it does. And it's easy to get into those places, but also it's wise to step back and like what you were saying is how can I be kind to my body? How can I treat it so that it will be able to support me, be here, like not suffer? I mean, we can't control some things, but a lot we can. I think too, I have learned in my own life that I can evaluate what do I need today? Like, what does my body need today? Maybe I need to go do a big workout. Maybe I just need to walk. Maybe
Mhm.
I need to go to bed a little earlier. It's going to be different sometimes at different days and even different decades, what we'll need. So, just being curious all the time and knowing that. So, to wrap up, just want to check in to see if there's anything you want to leave with us today.
I would just leave some hope for where you are because there's always something that can be done. And when I have felt this myself and then I see it in a lot of my clients, it's like I have done everything and this isn't working. And when you get to that place, it is extremely like overwhelming and frustrating. And a lot of times you're not far from the answer. It's just maybe needing somebody to look at it from a little different perspective and say, oh, okay, let's just tweak these few things. And then it's always this, you're filled with hope because you don't have to settle where you are. If you feel stuck, you don't have to settle. There's hope and there's things to do. And it doesn't necessarily have to be this huge weight that like you have to change everything and you're never going to have any fun again. No, because health, is restrictive and it's not that at all. So that's the thing that I would want people to feel hope and empowered. And it's you that can make the change. Like you might have somebody point you in the right direction. And then it's like you can make the changes and you'll see it. And then you get to walk in that freedom. And I believe that's the restored wholeness is we can walk in this wholeness, whether it's spiritually, mentally, physically, and put like our whole body just feeling amazing and thriving instead of like, I'm just barely hanging on and surviving. So that's what I would leave is that hope that things really can change and you can feel better than you ever have.
I agree with that. And I think also feeling like whoever your provider is, if that's not the right person, feel like you can look for somebody else if you need to. You can add another person if you need to and keep that one. It's okay to do that. But feeling like you can have the ability to talk through, your body more than anybody knows your body. And that there's something to be said about that. So thank you, Jamie. I appreciate you sharing your time with us today. And we will link your information for our guests as well.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
As we wrap up another insightful episode of Making Health Doable, we want to express our gratitude to you for joining us on this journey toward better health and wellness.
At Dooable Health, we're not just a podcast. We're a dedicated team of physicians, board-certified health coaches, and law enforcement experts.
And together, we're on a mission to serve employees and first responders, providing coaching workshops and masterclasses tailored to conquer the challenges of stress, anxiety, and burnout.
But our commitment doesn't stop there. We're also passionate about improving wellness for individuals like you, offering at-home lab testing and personalized coaching to support your unique needs.
Because at the end of the day, whether you're an employee, a first responder, or simply an individual striving for better health, we're all human. And we firmly believe that life can feel better for everyone when health is made doable.
So as you go about your day, remember that you're not alone on your journey toward wellness. We're here to support you, encourage you, and provide you with the tools you need to thrive.
So stay tuned for more inspiring conversations, expert insights, and actionable advice in our future episodes. Be sure to like and subscribe on your podcast platform.
And don't forget to visit our website at dooable.com, DOOABLE.com, for additional resources and updates. Until next time, remember that health is within reach.
And together we can make it doable.